Okay, let's begin. So welcome everyone. Today we are going to do second part 2 of our mini series where we help you to have stress-free holiday campaigns. I'm Vi, I'll be your host today. And today we're going to talk about the creative side of creating your campaigns. Last week we had a webinar with Kristen and Desi where we covered more of the common planning mistakes and common deliverability mistakes. We went through a checklist that you should check before your campaigns as well. So if you need a link to that, we'll pop it in the chat. So again, there's nothing here today that you should know from previous webinars, so don't panic. After this webinar, you can check the first part. And also you will receive a recording of this one so you can put everything together and really get to work. There's still time before Easter, so you can still do some of these things. We're going to be talking and focusing more around Mother's Day because that's coming up in the US. But you can also apply this to literally any other campaign. So to help with that, I have Pia, who's joining us today. She is the Director of Brand at Omnisend. And she is the person to be talking about this. She has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to branding, messaging, standing out. And I'm very, very excited for all of you to meet her if you haven't met her already. So Pia, would you like to say hello?
Of course, yes. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here and excited. I can talk hours about branding and creative campaigns, but I promise not to do that. Not hours today, just the information you need.
Absolutely. I'll have you on for other topics as well. So don't you worry, guys. Pia's going to be back for sure. A couple of housekeeping stuff before we begin. So this session is being recorded and you will receive a recording via email. So that's going to be ready in your inbox in a couple of days. And also, if you have any questions, at the bottom of your screen, there is a Q&A box where you can add your questions so they don't get lost in the chat. And we'll try to answer those as soon as we get to the Q&A section. So that is that. I'll allow Pia to take the stage, and I am so excited for everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, Vi. And hello again to everyone. So quickly, what can you expect from this webinar? So actually, when I was preparing, I really tried to sit down and write down every step and moment, every practice that my team and I do when we hear these magical words. We need a new campaign, right? And I think many of you had this feeling, we need a new campaign. Now what? So during this webinar, we'll try to run through and deep dive into how to approach your campaigns, how to come up with the ideas, how to choose the right idea from the whole list of random brainstorming kind of like pieces. Of course, we'll share some bonus tips and tools that here at Omnisend we actually use when we're creating campaigns. We'll start this with maybe more theoretical side, just so we all have the same vocabulary and definitions and we talk about the same thing. And then, of course, we'll go to a bit more practical part and we'll try to use the theoretical part to kind of really see how would we do the brainstorm this Mother's Day campaign if we do it together. So actually, around a month and a bit ago, we also were hosting a webinar where we explored why seasonal campaigns work, seasonal campaigns or reactive marketing campaigns. And first of all, they work because you're not competing with saturated or trending topics, right? So if it's an international or national holiday or celebration, the whole world is talking about it, right? For example, now Easter is coming, and I just like half an hour ago before webinar, I got a message from my mom sending a TikTok with some recipes for Easter, right? So instead of competing with all that, that's everything that people are talking about, you're joining the conversation. Next to that, you start speaking your customer's language, right? So once again, like if this is what they're interested into, if like people, I don't know, your coworkers or friends are talking about this, then your customers are also talking the same language. And by doing that, you kind of position yourself as relatable brand, which is not a very easy thing to do because people are a bit cautious, right? People think that brands and companies just want to sell them and take their money. And this kind of like seasonal campaigns have done right. They help to build this kind of more vulnerable relationship, which is really, really, really valuable to retain these customers. So yeah, but coming up with the campaigns can feel overwhelming, right? So okay, you maybe do one and you really try it and you're very happy, and then suddenly there's another one coming and you're not done with that, and you already see there's another one, and then next year comes and they just keep coming at you, and it's kind of difficult to keep coming up with these ideas, right? And I've heard that many times people say, "Oh, I'm not that creative person. The ideas don't just pop into my head," right? And yeah, there is this kind of misconception that there are creative people who just think and they get these ideas, but that's actually, and I was also like me and with some of my colleagues were called one of these people. So, and that's actually not the case. There's so much discipline, formulas, and kind of strategically going for different pieces and putting them together that kind of makes that idea to come up. So now I'll try to share and show you how this process works, so you will know it's not just, you know, me in the dreams coming up with some kind of idea, but there is some kind of a rationale before that. So let's start with this, how to plan seasonal campaigns. And it starts with discipline, actually, because at the start of the year or a quarter, though, I suggest just once a year, kind of sitting down and trying to research all the upcoming seasonal events. So it could be the good old Easter, Christmas, right? Maybe some other celebrations, Valentine's Day, Halloween, right? There could be some other events, not like celebration, sports events. Maybe it's Olympics, Super Bowl, maybe some pop culture events. For example, Coachella is happening in the US now. So if your brand, maybe for your brand, it's some kind of a milestone. So kind of really noting these, the ones that you think you will want to do the campaign for. Marking key dates on your calendar, of course. And then this is, I guess, the most important part, blocking like 1-2 hour slots about a month before each event to strategize and prepare. So this is not just planning, knowing that Easter will happen, but month ago, really blocking that time. We know you're all busy, but after spending this 1-2 hour kind of to create the campaign concept, the rest will go much more smoothly and you'll be less stressed. Yes, I already mentioned the word campaign concept. So what is that? Campaign concept is a hook or idea that kind of ties everything together. I sometimes call it campaign angle as well, just to kind of like to explain it as, you know, in which way you approach this kind of like campaign. Uh, uh, what's good about the campaign concept, when you have it, when you have this angle or idea, then the rest is kind of easy. You can apply it to all the activities and channels that you use. Email marketing, it could be your social media, it could be landing page. That's why in some cases I'll share you some examples. You'll see it's not maybe email marketing, but you'll see how the same concept can be used on social media, email marketing, etc. Right? But for creative, you kind of think of this, and then the rest you just have to execute. Just to kind of make sure like we're all on the same page. So here are a few examples of the campaign concept that you might have heard of. One of is like our own Omnisend that we launched last year. It's Omnisend email SMS marketing so good it's boring. Basically, the story of this, we were really kind of brainstorming and thinking, how do we make Omnisend exciting and sexy and adventurous? And then we realized, like, we're sounding so silly trying to say that email marketing is exciting and sexy. It's not. And that's okay, because nobody wants, I don't know, to have adventures or mystery there. People want it to work. So, and this is where we kind of like came up with this concept that like so good it's boring, and kind of going the other way of some other brands. Of course, we have probably the most popular that not even marketers, everyone knows, is Nike with Just Do It. It also started with a campaign. It was one of the campaigns. It was so successful that now it's, I think, even like 30, 40 years ago, it's now the brand concept and they're not changing it. And the third one to kind of illustrated this one, I really like this one. It's even when it is in Heinz, it has to be Heinz. So basically, Heinz had the problem that's kind of some smaller, I don't know, cafes, restaurants across the world, they're not buying Heinz, but they kind of buy the bottle and they put some other one. And instead of like fighting is the problem, they turn into campaign saying, look what our name and quality means that everyone wants to use us, right? So these are some of the just a few campaign concepts to illustrate like what that means. And coming up with these, it's kind of like, it's not easy. Like you need a lot of research, a lot of insights, really thinking about your target audience, about your brand. For like Nike and Heinz work with like really huge creative teams and agencies. But what's amazing about seasonal campaigns is that they already kind of give you the theme, right? So you don't need to start from the completely white page. You already, the theme is kind of there, right? So if it's spring now, so it's you're thinking blooming, or you think about spring cleaning, right? If it's summer, you already like, it's the first warm day here where I am from. So already everyone is talking about how the heat wave is coming, right? And each summer there will be like at least a week where like this happens, right? So the seasonal kind of like topic, it's already gives you thing when you add it to your product, and here you go, you already have half of the work done. Now, emphasis on the half of the work done, because the second part is putting your customer first. And even though this sounds a little bit cheesy, like put your customer first, we all heard it, but people still forget, and brands still forget to do it. They love talking about how awesome their product is and how amazing it is. They forget about the customer. So this is very important mental exercise that my team and like here at Omnisend, we constantly have to remind ourselves, because let's be fair, we all kind of like want to talk about ourselves and our products, so it's very important. But, and this is the main question, how do our customers interact with the occasion? What do they do? What do they think about? Are they worried? What are they excited about? What specifically maybe clients that buy your product or use your service, like how they like do, what's kind of profile, really kind of getting understanding this profile is the most important part. And it is also supported, this is just extra tip, by Donald Miller in his quite famous marketing book, Building a Story Brand. Basically, in this book, he uses this formula that directors at Hollywood used to create these really, really kind of interactive movies. And he tries to apply them to brands. And the main message here is your customer, not your brand, is the hero of the story. So once again, if you're looking for something interesting to read for marketing, I recommend checking this book out. It's quite, yeah, it taught us quite a lot. Second part, well, okay, we thought a lot about the customer. We understand what topic it is kind of seeing, okay, what do I want to do with this campaign? How do I interact with it, right? And it doesn't have to be all about selling. Of course, it can be about it, and in many times it's useful, but also can be a celebration, inspiration, entertainment to your clients, etc. But at this stage, I'm thinking enough with the theory. Let's try to put it in practice and to understand what does it mean to entertain or to inspire a client via campaign, right? So Mother's Day is in a month, and look at that. You just got your reminders to start planning that you prepared at the beginning of January. And we start with this one. Think about your customers. Okay, so this is in the part of the brainstorm where we start thinking about, okay, what do our customers or people do around Mother's Day? So around Mother's Day, people buy gifts for their mothers in their lives, right? Some with excitement, others with uncertainty. So, for example, my sister, she loves gifting. She's already like have everything planned and packed. And I know that my mom is gonna be very happy. And I know that me and my brother are gonna feel quite bad because we don't know what to get her, right? And also I have this notion, I know that I heard some brands saying that, oh, Mother's Day is such a feminine, right, holiday. It's like all about flowers and cupcakes, etc. And we are doing, I don't know, like some masculine thing, maybe like I can't think of anything, but you can imagine, right? Some like if you have a masculine product, but then I'm thinking, okay, so your target audience, if this is like, I don't know, young males, then this is the group that is probably the most confused about what to give to their mothers. So this is an amazing way to kind of say, okay, we are on the same page, we get you, and kind of to think, how can we help you? Because we are on absolutely the same boat as you are, right? Then maybe some others without gifts, they plan something special, a dinner, a trip, or a heartfelt moment, right? And I have this friend who have a tradition to take his mother to the museum and then for a brunch, right? So, but maybe it could be something else, maybe a treasure hunt, maybe something related to your product, right? To kind of help it to make not just a plain gift, but something more, right? Then the third one is maybe mothers treat themselves. And this is actually a trend that Omnisend started noticing when we were researching Christmas gifts buying and giving, that self-gifting is such a new thing that's coming up. And then I started even being aware of myself. Yes, like even it's like some kind of Christmas, like I will gift myself a present. So maybe this could be an interesting angle that really mothers in your kind of among your customers would appreciate and love, that you kind of like suggest them to treat themselves with the gift. And of course, with without these nice things, there is some other things to consider, because for some, it might be a sensitive or emotional time, right? There's likely among your customers be those who are grieving and who just lost their mothers or their mother figures recently. And that's also important for you to kind of step into their shoes and see how to approach that. So just to advise on this one, like this is something that we quite recommend, is give customers the option to opt out, right? You can use Omnisend's landing page template to let customers skip the sensitive content, and maybe Vi or Ira can share like some materials there that will show you with some statistic how much people appreciate that in this kind of like vulnerable moment, the brand really supports them, and instead of just selling and thinking about themselves, they kind of like really step in the customer's shoes. So this is a really cute, simple example for the hallmark. How simple can this be? It's just a simple kind of message saying that we understand that it could be a difficult time. If you want, just click here and opt out. So yeah, let's get back to more fun stuff, to the customers who want to celebrate Mother's Day, right? And to celebrate it with your product or services. So let's focus on your message. How do you want to communicate to your customers? So do you want to sell? So if you want to sell, there are also different approaches. Like if I would be brainstorming, thinking how I could sell and suggest selling more, right? So maybe there's an offer, a special discount, right? So your product might be the perfect gift or a treat for moms themselves. So you kind of just push on that message. So you have that message formulated, and this is a second thing. You can also create maybe a themed product line, like a best mother t-shirt or limited edition, I don't know, items. Maybe put some of your products together, and this would be like a perfect set for as a gift, etc. Right? So kind of like creating this a bit of the special edition, limited edition urgency vibe, and also maybe tailoring it to the season itself. You can also offer a bundle, something like buy one, get two for matching gifts. Also like very on this, building with this kind of a more romantic, I don't know, copy and campaign about like, I don't know, mother and daughter having, I don't know, similar tattoos, rings, I don't know, scarves, etc. And this could be also, you see how like the sale kind of practice goes hands in hand with the message of understanding your clients and like what emotional they are interested in. Here is another example from Hallmark. Very simple. They suggest 30% off for everyone celebrating this Mother's Day. So here in the simple email, they suggest the whole kind of range of their products, right? Offer is very clear and simple. Yeah, this is an interesting thing that they chose. They're not just saying to moms, but they're kind of like broadening it a little bit to kind of mother figures and beyond, kind of making person think about inspiring, oh, maybe I can give this, I don't know, to my friends who are young mothers or something, right? Especially it's just a card. So yeah, and it stays true to Hallmark's warm, inclusive tone of voice. This is another example that showcases also that sometimes less is more. And most importantly, that most businesses can have a Mother's Day off. When I'm thinking about smartwatch, that's not number one thing I would think that to get to my mom, right? It's something with a bit, no, I would think flowers and cake, but why not? Maybe this could be a perfect unexpected gift. And yeah, there's kind of like campaign here is very simple and straightforward, just a discount and shop now. But thinking like they could have had maybe even more brainstorming, like maybe grow on this idea about, I don't know, how children, daughters, when they adult, they want, I don't know, their parents to be proud of them. So maybe, you know, gifting this a bit more luxury present to my mom, it's kind of, you know, it is some kind of emotion. So maybe build on that somehow, like just, this is another like idea how this could have gone, but this is a works. And because like when I saw this, like even for me, was like, oh, maybe I should consider some kind of like this gift for my mom. Second one is, do you want to celebrate? So we're going away from sales, and what can we find here? So maybe you could share an honest letter from you or your brand, right? Maybe you have some kind of story to say, something special. Maybe, yeah, maybe this day is very important to you personally. And by seeing this, even though it's nothing, I don't know, an offer or sale, but this could build this kind of connection with your clients, showcase that behind the brand there are these people who have like also these experiences that you can kind of connect through. Or you could maybe run a giveaway or contest to spread love. And for me, this is very well illustrated by a CTB. So this is European car sharing service company based in Baltics, and this is their campaign from 2021, so quite a while ago. But I really remember it kind of till now and 4 years ago, because this was the end of the COVID. You know, there are still some kind of lockdowns happening. We can't have live events, Mother's Days there. What they did a collab with this local musician, and they kind of announced that tag in the neighborhood that you are from, and also the why you love your mom or something like this. And for three of them, they'll send this local musician to sing like a little 20 minutes concert outside of their apartment or the house, right? So I took it from social media, the screenshot, but I do remember they had a newsletter as well. So after this, they also did like this video after with the emotions and this mother crying. So, this is another way to kind of celebrate, spread love, also showcasing how the service at the time can help you to connect with people when it's not kind of well, you cannot do the regular things like going to the concert, etc. So this is also an interesting kind of angle how to approach it, right? You can also inspire and entertain them. So maybe you can share creative ways to celebrate the occasion. And I love, love, love this example from Etsy, where they are kind of creating this Mother's Day breakfast in bed kind of like ideas and angles. And this already starts my imagination going wild about how I would do that. I remember about as a child, right, when you didn't have like that much money as a gift, but what you could do, you kind of do a breakfast bed to your mom. So this could be an interesting angle how they showcase this. Once again, it can be maybe targeted, I don't know, to male audience who have little children and who will be helping to make these breakfasts, right? Then you of course can create thoughtful gift guides and to help out your clients, especially those who are a bit struggling with the ideas and are not the best gift givers. You can also use gamification like a quiz. What type of mom do you have? Or a fun surprise builder. So also an example by Showcase where you could see it for the TikTok moms. So when they had these categories of different moms that already got my attention, thinking, which one is mine? Is it TikTok or maybe a Pinterest mom, right? So already kind of it guides you, it helps you, while also entertaining and making you relatable. So yeah, this is a great example by Don't Buy Her Flowers on basically Mother's Day gift guide and how it is ready, and kind of collides few of the messages and ideas that we have. So you can already see that we build from all these kind of like what customers think and what we can do. They're kind of combining many of these to build this kind of interesting campaign, which not necessarily is about selling, it's about looking for ideas, but we all know that it helps to sell as well. So basically, in this case, Don't Buy Her Flowers supports undecided or busy subscribers, makes gifting easy. We've created ready-made gift boxes, and also we could see like in the description, in the copy, it says whether she's a book lover, kindergartner, or just wants some TLC. So you could already see it also during these kind of groups of like which mom is yours, right? What type of mom you have. So combining these tactics into this kind of engaging and very helpful for a buyer campaign. Then we have Charlisted by Mother's Day Gifting Made Easy. Once again, creating a gift guides for different types of mom. We can have florist, for the keen gardener, etc. Telling a story for the visually and staying true to the brand. Beehive Cheese also, Your Mom Deserves the Best. So basically they prepared gift card campaigns for last minute shoppers. This is also something to note and try when the campaigns you can build around the kind of like order early in times, and for those last minutes always have the gift card ready. And yeah, staying true to your brand identity and tone of voice. So here you could see some quite cheesy puns related to cheese, but I assume that really works for them, and it's kind of fun and engaging to read, right? On this you can build even more, right? Maybe like they could have built this campaign even like, or maybe in the future they build it even more about how maybe you don't know, maybe the gifter doesn't know what to get, but like mom always love her charcuterie board and can enjoy it and explore the cheese, right? Or maybe the flowers won't be, I don't know, forever, but like that's evenings with a different cheese, something, right? So this is just my kind of imagination going wild, coming back to different kind of like ways how the customer can interact and feel about this kind of celebration. So yeah, at this stage now, after me talking for a long time, imagine that we have like a list of these random different ideas that we noticed before, and we thought how like customers react. So it's like a bunch of everything. So what do we have? What do we do next? So yeah, let's look at those ideas. And this is now the process of selecting one or kind of combining some of them. So which of these ideas do you like the most, right? Which one do you, I don't know, think is the most interesting? Which one fits your product best, right? Maybe you saw some interesting campaign, but there's, I don't know, just doesn't come together with your product that well. Third one, it's a very honest one. Which one is not too time consuming? In some cases, that's true. Like we had the case when we think of this, wow, really elaborate thing. And then we look at our calendars and we say, maybe next time, maybe next year or something. That could be also like something to consider. Which is the most unique for me also. That's very, very important, right? Like there are so many brands, so much information around us. This uniqueness and catching attention and being different and standing out is becoming a really valuable thing. So if you come up with something that's unique and kind of eye-catchy, also don't just kind of throw that away. Really think how this could benefit you. And already have a clever copy idea, that's even better. So if you, with some of the idea already comes with the joke or the visual or something that you're like one further next step, then this is also maybe something that can really help you. And the last one, run some of these ideas through your team or someone around. So that's why creative agencies have creative directors. If you haven't heard, creative directors don't come up with the ideas. Creatives bring them these ideas and then just say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. Why? Because when you spend 1 or 2 hours coming with ideas, you could be like get really used to one of them and understand them. And there's so many cases when you show that brilliant idea to someone and they just are so confused and they don't understand why and what is happening. So it's always very helpful to kind of feedback and get back, I don't know, to ground and reality with these ideas. So yeah, you choose that one idea. What's next? What are the next steps, right? Or maybe a combination of few ideas and you see them kind of like coming together, right? So maybe write your key campaign, right? This is kind of one thing. It will already help you with the subject line and the headline and kind of like, this is how you start building the story. If you're not a copywriter, that's okay, and that's very natural. But now these couple last years, we have a ChatGPT, and feel free to use it and experiment with it and try to kind of prompt it to write this copy. Even though like I have up to 10 years of copywriting experience, I still now these days, now I don't know how I lived 5 years ago without sometimes help of ChatGPT. It really makes kind of like the work easier, more better flowing. Keep it clear, concise, and to the point. This is very important because once again, as mentioned, like you spend 2 hours, you're building this wow, amazing campaign, but remember your clients will just use it, like see it for a second till they catch your attention or like just go through it, right? So they won't have 1 to 2 hours to really understand what you were putting together. So make sure it's very clear what you want them to say and they get it. Is it the joke or nuance or this relatable motion? Think about the visuals, but remember strong copy can stand alone. So once again, like the visual can be important. Of course, it depends on your brand, but in many cases, in this kind of like coming up with the copy and the concept, the visual just supports it. So if the copy is strong, it can even like go along with without the visual. And this is the last few things from my side. Just remember through all this process, so it's not just about sales. Building relationship matters too. And trust me, by building relationship, those sales starts coming in as well eventually. Always put your customer first. How are they experiencing this occasion? So try to also like look around you, around the people like you interact, how they are doing like this, right? Once again, with the Easter upcoming, now in the office drinking coffee, I see how everyone is planning when they're going to see their grandparents or something else. So really try to see this very human part of how they interact with the occasion. Do your research, right? Get inspiration, see what other brands are doing, Google, write down like what you notice around you. Keep your message clear and focused. What's the one thing that you want your customer to take away? So once again, not going overly the top and making sure that customers understand. I have a few more tiny short bonus tips to share with you. So first one is turn shipping into a sales tactic and don't buy her flowers. So we have mentioned this brand a few times. They did really awesome, like quite simple, but really fun strategic thing and how it played exactly for Mother's Day and with the shipping or delivery. So basically they, out of their shipping kind of delivery info, made a conversion tool. So they clearly informed customers about delivery date and options. You can see it there on the right. They did all the planning for them, making it convenient, right? So you don't need to calculate back and see what day it is, right? And then they highlighted how price or availability change over time to build urgency. So by seeing this, like knowing, okay, I'll need to order that gift eventually. So do I do it now or do I do it when it's more expensive? So there's some kind of this very natural urge that's not pushy, what's happening in that customer makes the decision then to do it maybe earlier if they do. And when if this didn't work, what they did, they became this kind of last minute hero, right? So they did two things. So they offered a free next day shipping upgrade to seal the deal. So I assume they excluded those who bought already and who were like very exemplary gifters who did it in time. But for those last minute ones, last day, it's the last push. Okay, so you still have a chance. It will be tomorrow. It's a great. And for those who still didn't make this kind of like buy, they offered a gift card again, right? So gift card is a huge save for many of your customers. So help your customers not to forget to gift anything by doing this. And yeah, some pre-Omnisend tools that we use, and not and you can use in the brainstorming like your ideas, right? So we have mothers, the email templates. Once again, you don't have to like just use one of them, but this is a great way to also to see what other brands are doing, how you could approach this. Maybe one of them will really work with the campaign concept that you came up with, right? Then we have more than 170 best Mother Day subject line ideas. Once again, not necessarily just to copy paste, but maybe once again, one of them will work so well by being changed a little bit with your campaign concept, or maybe lead you into some kind of campaign concept that you have been researching and thinking and building on. And then of course we have email subject line tester that you can always test how your campaign concept turned into the subject line for your new campaign. And that's it for me. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Pia. That was so helpful. Like I remember back in the day when I just started in e-commerce, same issues. You think, it's the creative part. It's going to be easy. We'll get it done. And then next thing you know, you have like 3 days. You have to do all the planning, do all the creatives, everything. So like if I were you guys, I would take this webinar. You'll get the recording. Just make a checklist out of it. Just make sure you get it done for Mother's Day. And trust me, it's going to be so much easier, stress-free, and you'll have the space to actually think about it as well. So what I really liked as well is at the beginning, you mentioned discipline. And that's kind of like counterintuitive with creativity, because you're like, but I'm a free spirit. I want to be creative. But that simple tip of just plan ahead, the quarter starts, you're already planning the campaigns, you're planning your social calendar as well. So take 5 minutes, put everything in your calendar, block out the time. Again, once the time comes, you'll be like, oh my God, I have like 2 weeks to prepare. What is that? So that's like very practical, very simple, but trust me, like it's gonna work. You're gonna feel so much easier about it. And also I loved, you kept bringing back that kind of know your customer kind of thing where like, okay, I have, everyone can say Christmas coming up. Let's come up with a creative idea. But everyone's audiences are different. For some businesses, their audiences, I know they're more maybe formal, or they have certain preferences, activities, whatever that is, that niche has their own specificities. So just again, sit down and be like, okay, why don't we look at the past data as well? Around what time were people buying? What were they browsing? Just kind of like really get into the shoes of other people, of your customers. And instead of like focusing on like, what do I want to sell? Think about like, what do they want to buy and how to present it to them as well. So it's like very important. That's that inner urge of being like, buy from me. But actually it's about what people actually living in that moment. And then you find them there. And then it's easier to make the conversion there as well. And also, very important thing that I've been in e-commerce for probably close to 9 years. And it's very important to understand your own constraints. So I can have, as you said, the best idea ever. We're going to have this flash mob. We're going to have this and this and that, do this campaign. And they're like, oops, like it's only me and one other person, like who does finance. So like, how are we going to pull this off? So being very realistic and, done is better than perfect. Like you get it done, just get it done. You will learn from it. I guarantee next time you'll do better, or you'll have other ideas as well. So, yeah, like it was so informative. And again, I just cannot stress this enough. Just take your time, go through the checklist, prepare in advance, give this Mother's Day a try. go through this formula. It doesn't matter whether you're like a small business, whether you're an enterprise, everyone goes through the same steps, just at different capacity. So that was very informative, Pia. Thank you so much. And we do have one question. If you go to the next slide.
Yeah.
So it's so you shared so many examples, and again, you mentioned ChatGPT, AI tools. So how do we avoid copying something when we're looking for inspiration? Because even with AI, there are thousands of people now putting in the same prompt, wanting the same thing from it. So how do we avoid that copying, staying true to our voice there?
Yeah, that's a very good question. That I don't have one very, one sentence answer that, fixes everything and there are no problems. And I think the first one is like, yeah, just don't be mean and like be aware, trying not to copy it, like not just kind of taking someone else's work. I think this is like the ethics of marketing are very important. So by doing that, I don't know. I think like, all the colors that we have come up with mixing like a few colors, right? So I think with marketing, if the idea is similar, adding it to completely different tone who has different vibe and different audience, it somehow already starts becoming a little bit different, right? You can use a pun or an angle, but then adding, I don't know, your visuals or your something like this, rewriting text of your own, that is kind of important. The other thing I think I stressed it before, the uniqueness, right? So you benefit by trying to make it as unique and different as possible rather than just copying, because if it was already done and you saw this idea, it's likely some others started doing that as well. And soon people like consumers, they're not that's I don't know, silly, right? They learn to kind of not see what they consider as ads or something, like constant, right? This kind of like how so ad blindness, right? So like if it's gonna be the same repeated thing again and again, they'll start to ignore that. So like, but by trying to from yourself, when taking like inspiration, researching few parts, but then pushing for this uniqueness that's come exactly from your brand, from your brand tone, from your own experiences, right? I think this what makes it unique, different, and that has these proper results then.
I love it. When you were saying that, I was thinking about how often, and I've seen it again and again with different e-commerce businesses, they think that all their testing should happen during the campaign, where you actually can do some testing beforehand. So if you have social media, of course, you're like posting different content. So why don't you take some time and just experiment with it? What sort of messaging does your audience like? What do they respond best to? And then you can take that and move it into your campaigns. So then you can be sure that, okay, like they like maybe something splashy, or maybe they like really unexpected things, or actually something very calming, because again, holidays, stress, and all of that. So you kind of like learn what stops your audience from scrolling. That is very important. And then, like, because also just think about that. Like, it's not just you emailing your audience, right? Like everyone else is bombarding them with emails. And as Pia said, there's only like 1 second. They're going to scroll through that. And you have to be very clear about what you're selling. What do you want people to do as well, that call to action? So as I said, do some testing beforehand. And again, it doesn't have to be via email. You can use your social media. You can use other channels. Just talk to your customers as well. But that kind of like experimentation beforehand will give you the upper hand once you actually go into the campaigns. So I really like it. Any other advice on the copying and like looking for ideas?
Not at the moment. Yeah, just like try to be a unique, different, find your brand voice, and like even if you're inspired by something, make sure that it's not just a copy paste, like you say it in your own words, right? So I guess this is the main thing.
Absolutely. Well, Pia, thank you so much. This was, again, was so informative. I will make sure to have you on for other topics, but I just wanted our audience to avoid that blank page, stressful situation. Again, creativity, it comes when you're at peace, like that true authenticity is something that works. So as I said, you will receive the recording of this. We will send you key takeaways. So take your time. And I encourage you, after this webinar, just take those few minutes. And if you haven't already, book that time slot to plan your Mother's Day campaign. It's so easy. After this, just do that and trust us, it's going to pay off. So again, Pia, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for attending today, and we will see you soon. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.